You might be familiar with oral presentations. This said, you are bound to be quite unfamiliar with that particular type of exercise, a 10-minute presentation after just a 30-minute preparation. You might be perplexed as to what you can say in 10 minutes and how you can do to be convincing and make sure you cover what is important. In other words, how should I structure my speech when I do this presentation? This video offers you a structure that applies in more than 99% of the cases in general, and that should apply to every single exam question asked for now. This structure is as follows. The core of your argument is in two sections. Each section reflects one part, one step in your reflection. And around those two sections, you've got an introduction serving as a threshold to the topic, to the presentation, and a conclusion operating as the takeaways, what we should remember of the point you've made. So, when you start with your introduction in a very brief and concise way and straightforward way, you must define the concepts and key constructs, that is, the main terms of the exam question. In so doing, you are not expected to provide an exhaustive and a generic definition from the dictionary, but a definition which is especially pertinent given the question you're asked and given the answer you think you can make. You then follow this with the articulating of the exam question, and then your position vis-a-vis this question. That is, in one tweet, what your answer to this question is. In one tweet, this means 140 signs maximum, with a hook being catchy, concise, straight to the point. That is one sentence, which is your idea, with the relevant hashtags. This answer should be a rather yes or rather no, but certainly not a definitely yes or definitely no. It should be balanced, which then appears when you express the presentation structure, which is a balanced argument. That is, your balanced argument will be either rather yes or rather no, which means that the first section will express your main position, yes, and the second section, but this position is not totally perfect. This position does not reach indefinitely. Or your first section is no. My answer to this question is probably no. Second section, unless some things are amended, and then I could perhaps revise my position. So, first section, yes or no. First subsection, 1a, you must here set the philosophical or the historical grounds for your current position. The point is to say that this current position, which is rather yes or rather no, is not coming out of the blue, but either is grounded in some thinking. There are people who have thought of that, who have conceived of that in the past, or this is grounded in an historical trend or in an historical continuity, so that you are telling people this position has some grounds. Then 1b, why is your position valid today? We understood from the previous section where it is coming from, and now we need to understand why it is still valid and important today. In the second section, but or unless, you will first address in 2a the limits of your position. That is, to be convincing, you must show that you understand your position is not perfect. Your position does not apply universally. Your position does not apply everywhere, does not apply to every single context, but might stop sometime, might stop being applicable, might stop being tenable sometime. This is what you need to highlight here. Bear in mind, it is not a way of showing the advantages, disadvantages, cost benefits, SWOT or whatsoever. Certainly not. It's just to show how far you are conscious your position is tenable. Then 2b. Now that you know the limits, the boundaries of your position, of your answer, you should be capable of articulating some solutions to make your position applicable as widely as possible. That is, knowing that my position is imperfect, I can amend it in certain ways so that it is more widely acceptable. Or we can take example from that other context where they have addressed that problem this way to fix the problem raised by my position. Or in history, we might have seen that this limit has been handled in a certain way, so perhaps we could do this. So here, with the second section, the but if your answer is yes, or unless if your answer is no, the second section is here to show that you are conscious this position is far from perfect, but you are working towards making it acceptable, making it as applicable as possible. And this is because you are balanced in your argument and not definitive, that you can be convincing. People in your audience might disagree with you at the outset, but then think, why not? Okay, I do not quite agree, so the student says yes, I would rather say no, but here this student shows that this yes is not definitive and that it might be improved, so I agree. Same thing with a no. And lastly, the conclusion. This should be very straightforward, very concise. In the conclusion, you remind your audience of your tweet. The tweet you expressed in the introduction should be re-articulated here, which means what I want you to retain from now is this tweet. Next, you articulate the interest of this position. For whom, what type of practitioners could my answer be of any interest and why? And lastly, you re-articulate one more time, for the third time, your position, your tweet, which means now what I would like you to take from this is this tweet. So, this has major implications in terms of structuring or writing the headings of the 2 sections and the 4 subsections. Each heading, each title, 1A, 1B, 2, 2A, 2B, must be expressed ideally as a sentence bearing an idea. Avoid headings that are just descriptive, like the history of, or the advantages of. This does not help. So bear a title with the idea you want to develop. In order to facilitate this, I strongly recommend that you should ideally conceive of each title, each heading, as a tweet. That is 140 characters, expressing your idea in a catchy way with a hook and with the hashtags you want the audience to have in mind at all times. By just having your tweets in mind, you should be capable of articulating in a few sentences, in a limited number of sentences, your entire presentation.